The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for an adult audience only. It may contain sexually oriented content. Content may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to our witnesses who are testifying today. I want to thank each of you for being here to discuss a topic of grave importance to our national security. Earlier this year, a Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the coast of my home state of South Carolina. Since the Roswell incident in 1947, many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects crisscrossing our skies. Whether these are UAPs or weather phenomena, advanced technology from American allied or enemy forces, or something more out of this world. You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting. Late Night Legends Internet Podcast Radio, where we like discussing HDP and HD. My name is Frank Barrientos, United States of America. I'm here with my legendary hosts, Joan and James. How y'all doing? How we doing? Kimberly is off on sabbatical this month, I'm sure. However, she may make some appearances here and there because she's just a overachiever. She goes above and beyond. With that said, do we have any news? Do you guys want to share anything?
It was my 1-year wedding anniversary yesterday.
Yay. They say the first year is the hardest.
That was pretty easy, actually. Thank you.
Not too bad.
James, why are you saying like you were part of it?
I'm saying because I also have been married for almost.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my 1 year.
No.
It's like James doesn't know. So fun fact, we had the cake and it didn't taste like shit. That was really fun for us.
I just learned about that.
I would never.
Put the top tier in the freezer, right? And then you eat it?
Yeah, you eat it the next year.
I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, well, the tradition was because back in the day, cakes used to be really expensive to make. So the idea would be that you take the cake and freeze it so that when you have your baby shower, you could serve it again because you would be pregnant within the next year.
I didn't know about no baby shower, though.
Yeah, but now it's just a tradition that you eat the cake.
Gross. We had pie. We did not have cake.
James, tell me a story, James. How did it go for you?
My first year was pretty good, actually. We got married, and then my wife immediately started grad school like 3 weeks later. So that was really fun for about 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then she graduated, and then within a year, we were pregnant. And then all of a sudden, now I have 2 children. Welcome.
I like that you said we, as in a team effort.
Having children it's a team effort.
I know it requires a village to all that, whatever.
Also, the conception usually takes more than one person.
True. Not always, but for the most part.
Mostly. You don't want to ever speak in absolutes.
Am I to understand that, James, you did not eat pie after the first year?
No, because there was no pie left. We ate it all. It was so good. This really great bakery in Brooklyn called Pie Core. So good. So good. We also did barbecue for our catering.
Did you have savory pies too, or just the sweet pies?
No, we had like a whole mix. I can't even remember like everyone. I think there were like 4 or 5 different types of pies. Food was so good though. Sadly, the restaurant that catered had to close because the landlords upped their rent and they couldn't afford to stay in their space. But it was so good.
Damn it! Now we can verify your claims.
Oh, so good.
Technically, we had cupcakes at ours, but we did have them make a tier that we could cut, and that's what we had. So,
You know,
my husband and I do not like frosting, so cupcakes were
I don't like
preferable.
frosting.
I
oh,
like them.
you know, the working plan for my upcoming wedding is we're gonna have a cake and we're gonna give away slices. But for the wedding itself, we're offering the option of cupcakes from Molly's Cupcakes. So if you don't want to eat the wedding cake there and then, you can save it for like the next day or whatever you want, and then that night you can have Molly's Cupcakes.
There you
One of
go.
my favorite wedding events to do is to get really drunk at a wedding and then take the cake home and then eat it in the night and wonder what flavor I'm eating because it's
Just,
dark.
just cry into it and just be, what
I
flavor?
will say this: the best wedding cake I have ever tasted. It was a friend of mine. Like she got married out in the middle of like nowhere, Pennsylvania, and she had a friend bake the cake, and it was like a cardamom cake. It was
Oh God.
so good. Like
Wow.
Okay,
like-
I was expecting that part.
7-8 years later, I still think about that cake. And I'm not a huge cake person. That cake was so good.
You know,
Good.
there's this thing that really makes me upset and grinds my gears. And usually I don't like to vent my grievances on this show. But there's this trend going around where you have fruit juice and people are sneaking in like cardamom and turmeric and all sorts of cayenne pepper and shit. I hate it. Ooh,
I will say this:
no thank you.
I love cardamom. I had cardamom macaroons once. Those were really good. Cardamom's the shit. A little cardamom, a little raspberry.
I don't know. I need to know what's coming, I think. I'm always surprised at these juices. Like, I love watermelon juice, and I've bought a few. This one time I bought some, and somebody snuck fucking paprika and cayenne pepper in there. I was so mad.
That's good.
I
But
almost-
that's the thing. But that's just like getting like a piece of watermelon, putting some tahini on it. Like
It's true, but like, I just wanted to know that it was there. Instead, I just started drinking it and it just burned my mouth, and I just did.
oh, you can put cayenne pepper into anything, and I will be there.
Well, listen.
Man.
I'm stupid because I didn't read the label and I just assumed it was innocent juice when really it wasn't. It was angry. It was angry juice.
There's a brand of lemonade that one of the grocery stores near me sells that is lemonade with jalapeno juice. Not good. Not good at all.
Just listen, I like spicy food. I'm Latino, but I don't know. I don't do the tahini thing.
I love tahini.
I feel like I lose points amongst my ancestors.
Oh yeah.
I feel like tahini's not that spicy though, because I
It's
eat
not, but
tahini.
it's like a very Mexican thing
But
to
it's
put like tahini on mango, on watermelon.
Oh,
Like
I do
Cumbers,
like it.
honeydew.
yeah,
Oh.
my wife has like a giant jar in the cabinet. Like all summer, it is just watermelon and tahini.
I actually didn't grow up. My family never did the tahini, so I didn't grow up with it. There's no nostalgia behind it. I know that part for a lot of people is like the nostalgia of that.
Yeah,
Even like
I
tahini
like it.
stuff doesn't appeal to me.
So on the subject of spicy things, I have a fairly funny story. So yesterday, running errands with the two kids, and we stop at Taco Bell, and I'm like, all right, the kids need to eat. I'm just gonna get them a cheese quesadilla, right? It's a quesadilla.
Sure.
I break it in half, hand a piece to my 4-year-old, hand a piece to my 1-year-old. My 1-year-old happily munching away, not like enjoying life, loving his quesadilla. My daughter starts freaking out because it's too spicy. And I'm like, it's a cheese quesadilla. It's not spicy. The baby's not crying. The baby is going to town on it. This isn't spicy. It's just not the quesadilla you're used to. So you think it's different and you think spicy's bad. So you just say it's spicy. My wife and I are hardcore gaslighting her into eating this quesadilla. And finally, like, there's tears and all that. I was like, fine, don't eat it then. Me, who's a garbage disposal and will eat anything, takes one bite of the quesadilla and notice that it is filled with hot sauce.
Oh my God.
Not even, it's like, I guess it's like the Taco Bell medium. It's definitely not the mild, but it's medium. And I'm
why
like,
is it in there?
why is it in here? But also like, oh shit, she was not lying. This is spicy. And then I'm like, but why isn't the baby freaking out? He's loving it, eats the entire thing.
And don't say anything.
Didn't complain.
Awesome. Really quick.
No, you're gonna complain later when you have to change.
We
That's
have
when you're gonna
Yesterday, we're already
Oh,
past that. Are you kidding? How
professional.
long do you think it goes through? It takes all of 10 minutes.
Got Hein in the chat that says, "Hey, checking in real quick to wish you all a good stream. Thank you, Hein. Really appreciate it. He's, I'm sure, hanging out in Stormfrog stream. So say hi to Stormfrog for us." Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love Taco Bell. It's such a guilty pleasure, and
Oh, got a good crunch wrap.
I like a good crunch wrap. I'm actually so fucking basic too. I just like a soft taco supreme sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I don't need anything crazy. It's all the same to me. Like it's all like the same stuff in different form factors, right?
Oh, my father-in-law has this like really funny story about he introduced like a white friend to Mexican food. He's like, "Oh, what do you get?" It's like, well, what's a taco? Well, it's, tortilla with your choice of rice, beans, chicken, beef. Okay, what about a, burrito? Well, it's a tortilla with your choice of rice, bean, like literally how it's the same ingredients, just sometimes the tortilla is crispy, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's folded, sometimes it's closed.
We got this Euro place that I've been to in one of the Chicago suburbs, and it's hilarious because they're so expensive. They've got some really bad Google reviews. I went in there because like a friend that I knew from high school, like their family owns it, right? So like I went in there to just check them out to see like, hey, is the price warrant the cost, whatever, or the flavor. So I'm in there and there's like newspaper clippings on the wall from like the news, like, oh, this is the best Euros place. So like you look a little bit closer to read the article, and it's like from the early 80s, and it's like there's an article that was like the best ethnic food in the area, and you're looking at like the list, right? It's like number 2 on the list is Taco Bell for Mexican food. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, man, this really was the early 80s. I don't think this is valid anymore. Like, no, it was really crazy to see that. I almost wanted to take a picture and be like, this is wrong. You need to take this down. This is outdated.
Let's update this, people.
There's a lot. There's like so many authentic taco places now. To think of that part of town where I was in Villa Park to not have anything except for Taco Bell, and for that to be considered the best, it's kind of an insult. It's way overrated. So anyway,
someone who lives in the land of diners, hearing like, and a lot of diners are Greek owned, especially around here, hearing that an euro is expensive upset me. It made my tummy hurt.
$14.99 I think is where they're sitting right now. No fries, no drink, €14.99 euros, just the sandwich, just a regular size.
Absolutely not. Hard pass.
And if you know about euros, you know that most of them are that same Kronos company that make them, and they're basically the same anywhere you get them. They have little variations, but it's basically the same. Down the street, $10 euros.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the reviews are like, why the hell is your euro so expensive? Like you go down the road and it's $10.99 at Johnny B's, and like the owners will chime in and be like, I'm sorry you couldn't afford our euros. Clearly our product is not within your budget. It's so so catty that I actually befriended that person that I went to high school with over. I'm like, man, I don't want any of this negativity. Like,
I don't need this in my life.
I don't need people. I don't need a friend who's ripping people off on food. You know what I mean? It's
fair.
Such a weird thing to defriend someone, but I did it.
Anyway, so proud of you.
Thank you. I'll periodically be putting in reviews into the chat. But James, I'm really excited to talk about tonight. We've been trying to talk about Valiant Thor for at least a couple of months now. Also, Hein, before we get started, Hein says, "Answer from Frog, what's up?"
Is this how we're gonna talk? It's just back and forth with a middleman through streams.
We'll use Hein as a messenger pigeon.
We're okay. It's a little warm here.
Oh, Hein's an owl. He's like a Harry Potter owl. Okay, Hein. Oh man, what's Frog doing tonight? Is he playing something? Let us know in the chat. James,
Sinking Village or something. I checked it out right before I signed into ours.
All right. Well, I hope he sinks in the village. James, take us in, and I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna put my.
Okay, I've got my 4 pages of notes here. Woo! Okay, so first things first. Do either of you know anything about this?
If you scratched my brain a little hard, I might remember some stuff, but not a lot.
And do either of you watch American Horror Story?
I have watched a few of those miniseries.
Not in recent memory, no.
Cool, because like they did Valiant Thor in one of them recently, and
then no,
I have thoughts.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, not great. Okay, so basically, setting the scene, it is 1957. And we are in a crop field in Alexandria, Virginia, right outside of DC. And it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, middle of the day. Not middle of the day, but like morning. It's bright out and everything. And a spaceship lands. Just lands in the middle of a field. Two cops show up and are like, what the heck is this? And the door kind of comes down and out walks an obscenely attractive man. 6 foot tall, brown hair, brown eyes, just like apparently like and like fit. One source referred to him as a beefcake. Was just this hot dude comes out of this spaceship.
Scientifically referred to as a beefcake.
What a name.
I don't know scientifically, but you know, just literally just like a hot dude comes out of the spaceship and he's like, hey, literally, I mean you no harm, take me to your leader type of shit. And these two police officers are like, yeah, okay, sure.
They're like, I am the leader.
I am the leader. So you know, people think like, what, like, all right, why would the cops have like been so like acquiescent and everything? They're like, all right, probably some sort of mind control, some sort of telepathy. Apparently he like conveys all this like take me to your leader stuff telepathically. So we're gotten to some telepath here.
Okay, but I'm just gonna say it right now, that is pretty privileged. That is not telepathic.
100%. He's wearing
Pretty
a skin
privileged.
tight gold jumpsuit too. Just like
Sometimes I'll see John Stamos on TV and I'll be like, damn, that guy's communicating something to me telepathically, if you know what I'm saying.
exactly. Especially in a skin tight golden jumpsuit with no zippers or seams or anything. The source says it looked like it was painted on him.
It probably was, but go
Probably
on.
was. All right. So Alexandria, Virginia is right near the Pentagon, right near DC and everything like that. So they just drive up to the Pentagon. And when they get there, the Secretary of Defense is just like waiting for him as if like he was expected, basically. They take him in, and apparently they hop into a subway that runs between the Pentagon and the White House. Now, the existence of said subway is debatable, but it's one of those things where like most people are like, listen, it's a secret subway. There's got to be some sort of like most people agree that there's got to be a tunnel that connects the buildings, generally like for security, for things like that. I don't think no one is that. It's one of those like conspiracies that people are like, it's probably true. It's not worth thinking about more than just like
Kennedy assassination.
yeah, it's not. We're not talking Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
We're not. I will one day.
People just assumed that there was something there, conspiracy, but people don't want to talk about it. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple.
Of all the assassination, though, it's so funny because like when people talk about presidential assassinations, they all talk about the Kennedy one, how crazy it is, and like that to me is the most boring of them all. Like I'm actually no, Cholga, like McKinley's assassination was real boring. It was just like a labor thing, but like literally Gateau, like the Garfield assassination, the Lincoln assassination, JFK.
I know Joan wants to
McKinley.
say, I think she's going to say, go ahead, Joan.
What am I gonna say?
Did you bring it up? Didn't you bring up assassinations in our Super Bowls and then we were referencing James over it?
Oh,
Is one of
maybe. The only thought I have about it is that where I got married has train cars attached to it, and they were used for William McKinley's campaign. And
Oh.
I literally asked the lady giving me a tour if it's the one he got assassinated on, and she looked at me and said no, like I was an idiot. And
No, because he
I
got
was embarrassed.
assassinated at the Great American Exposition. It was
Oh,
sort
that's
of
why
like,
I'm an idiot.
it was like a World's Fair sort of thing
Okay.
up in Buffalo.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What did Frank think I was gonna say?
No, I know. I think when we did our Super Bowls trivia, when we got to like the miscellaneous category, I thought you had asked a assassination question. So I thought,
No, he asked us an assassination question.
who, James right now, or just
No, Lord Cronus asked us an assassination.
that's what it was. So I thought you were laughing because of that, because we brought up James during that show a while ago, and we were like, James would fucking know about this.
I probably would have.
Probably.
Message him. What the fuck
I
was
felt
it?
real bad. I was like, man, James would be mad at me because we were talking about this in depth at one time. We were.
Was it about the sex cult?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Sorry.
Now, okay, we'll come back to
No,
that.
we're doing
I will do-
other
if
sex
you-
calls
I
like
know
Valiant
it's-
Thor.
I know that Late Night Legends is supernatural and spooky and stuff like that. I think
Hold on.
one day I'm just gonna do the Garfield assassination because it's just crazy. It's just a crazy story.
We do conspiracies. I mean, that's kind of
There's no conspiracy at all. There's literally no conspiracy.
I
It's
feel
just
like
a
you can
wild story.
tack on a ghost story about Garfield at the end, and it fits the
Boom.
homework assignment.
Okay. So,
Okay, that's a good. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Joe.
welcome.
here,
Anytime.
Thank you for rules lawyering. Okay, bringing it back. Bringing it back. So basically, they take him on this little underground subway. Boop a doop a doop. He's all like, "Hey, my name is Valiant Thor." Yada yada yada. And they bring him straight to the White House, to the Oval Office, and Eisenhower's sitting at his desk and is like, "Yo, what's up?" Like Eisenhower is not freaking out. He's just like super down with everything that's happening. And so Val's like, "Yo, my name's Valiant Thor. I'm from the planet that your Bible calls the Morning Star." And Eisenhower's like, "Oh, shit, cool, Venus. I know that." So, side note, little things about Venus. Just some fun facts here. It's the second planet from the sun. Hope we all know that.
Yep.
It's very rocky. So, like, when
Mhm.
you kind of talk about like where aliens could come from, people actually do think that Venus at one point could have supported life. However, right now, if you were on the surface of Venus, the temperature is around 876 degrees Fahrenheit, and the amount of pressure is 92 times what you would feel at Earth. So you'd be really hot and really flat. So just that'd be kind of suck. But people have kind of like come up with the idea that like if we ever needed to colonize Venus, what we would do is we would have like floating cities, because there is a point in the atmosphere where the pressure is not so bad and the temperature is not so bad. So you could have these like balloon cities all over Venus and we'd be totally fine. So that's Venus. All right. So Eisenhower's like, "This is awesome. Great, cool, welcome." Val's like, "Do you want to go see my ship?" And Eisenhower is just like, "Hey, I would love to, except like I got my security detail. I can't just like go see your ship." In walks the vice president, who, if I'm not sure people know this, but Richard Nixon was Eisenhower's vice president. So now Nixon has entered the chat. And Nixon,
No house next.
Nixon is also like super chill about the whole thing. So if you're kind of wondering why Eisenhower, Nixon are all super chill with the fact that there's now like an alien standing in the middle of the White House, it's because Eisenhower and the aliens go way, way back. So about 3 years earlier, Eisenhower was on a vacation in Palm Springs, and late in the evening, he gets whisked away out of nowhere. And this is all verified. This is all true. This is what I'm saying, like right at this point is people weren't sure what happened. People weren't sure whether the Associated Press actually put out a bulletin that he had died of a heart attack. And then minutes later, like pulled the story. So no one quite knows where he went. No one knows what happened. The next morning, he shows back up where he's supposed to be, goes to, I think, like a Sunday mass, basically, and says, "Oh, I chipped my tooth on a chicken wing last night. Had to go get dental, like emergency dental work." Like that's the big story and everything. And so, of course, people are like, "Bullshit." Absolute bullshit.
Right now.
New conspiracy.
New
They Avril Lavigne'd him,
He's not real.
and
Someone else.
they took the teeth so you can't check the dental records.
Shockingly, it is weirder. The conspiracy around it is weirder than that.
Damn.
So
Okay.
what people think happened was that he was taken to a nearby airbase. The first original sort of like version of the conspiracy, the rumor was that he was going to be shown the Area 51 bodies, the Roswell crash bodies. Eventually, over time, it was that he actually met with living extraterrestrials who he then negotiated a deal with and signed a document called the Greada Treaty. And in this treaty, in exchange for scientific knowledge, Eisenhower allowed these aliens to abduct humans at will, as long as they reported the names of the people that they abducted to everyone's favorite alien hunting or alien committee, the Majestic 12. If you don't know the Majestic 12, do you guys know the Majestic 12?
I've heard of them. I don't know many details though.
There's not a whole lot. This is also, I have a couple of little, like, until like this little part of my story here has a lot of little side things here. The Majestic 12 was supposedly created by Truman post Roswell as a panel of people to investigate aliens and like UFOs and all that stuff. The sort of idea of the Majestic 12 didn't appear until the 1980s, when a couple of UFO researchers started getting classified documents through a unknown source sort of thing in the mail, whistleblower type deal. Over time, though, even though like in the 80s and 90s, the Majestic 12, as far as a conspiracy theory, was very much like alive and well, and like people fully believed that the Majestic 12 existed. Those same researchers who were sort of breaking the story of the Majestic 12 slowly kind of turned around the idea to be that the Majestic 12 never existed at all.
Oh, wow.
And that they were effectively pawns in the government as part of a disinformation campaign. So the government actively planted information about this committee doing this secret research as a way to discredit people who were doing UFO research. So like someone might be getting close to the truth, but then the Majestic 12 would pop up and they were like, well, that's wrong. That's not real. So it was a way to always keep them sort of in a place of discredibility. That's the word, which I actually believe, like, that to me makes more sense, that like the government would be doing something like this to people who might be stirring up a little bit of like trouble, especially now that we know, like, no, we've had a UFO research team for a very long time. They don't know what the fuck's flying around out there. So the idea that they might be discrediting people who are who have dedicated their lives to find out what's going on and thereby maybe get some government secrets makes sense. Anyway, so basically Eisenhower's like, cool, abduct as many people as you want. This is also like really like the beginning of the Cold War. This is, post World War II. The space race is on. We're getting, this starts in 1957. It's just a little over 10 years before we reach the moon. So like this idea of trading scientific secrets for American bodies is not necessarily like that far-fetched.
Sure.
And apparently there was a huge uptick of alien abductions in the 60s. So they're saying that like, well, this is the Greada Treaty. This is all of that. So president's like, go ahead, take our people. Give me that science. So anyway, Valiant Thor sitting in the White House with Nixon and Eisenhower, and he's explaining why he's there. And he says that he's been sent by the High Council, which is like an intergalactic like organization of different planets and different beings whose like goal is to take care of the less intelligent species of the galaxy. Rude. Right?
They threw some shade.
But rude. Yeah, a little intergalactic shade right there.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm too stupid to understand you. What? Say it again. Say it, get on my face.
Get on my face, Val.
Say it again telepathically to my face.
Well, I mean, at this point, Val's speaking. He's just chatting away.
Okay.
He's apparently very nice. So, checking my thing, checking my notes. Okay, so basically Val comes in and says like, look, the High Committee has sent me. You're getting too close to the nuclear weapons, pure people. Gotta cut it out. Knock it off. Let's de-escalate this. No nukes. Because nukes not only affect you, but they also cause issues intergalactic when you set them off. So we're not doing them. Let's de-escalate. And he basically says to like Eisenhower, like, this is what I'm asking you to do, is like, let's see if we can get rid of the nukes. And Eisenhower's like, I'll try.
That son of a bitch.
And he's like, cool, all right, I have 3 years. I can only be here for 3 years. You've got 3 years. Let's see what you can do. Let's get rid of the nukes. So in the meantime, they set him up with a nice, cozy apartment in the Pentagon. He's free to come and go as he wants. He's apparently very good at teleporting. Pops in and out. He also, like, helps out with the sciencey stuff. He, shows the Pentagon scientists different things, and like they study him a little bit.
Ooh.
And they take his little gold jumpsuit and they like hit it with a drill and like a diamond drill, and they try and set it on fire, and it like doesn't, like they can't do nothing to this thing.
The fire makes sense. The diamond drill right away is a little rash.
I would try to drill the suit.
They also tried to fire like a heavy assault rifle at it, nothing. So basically whatever this like jumpsuit is made out of is like real good.
Real good.
Good
Real
material.
good. Real like
Resilient material.
Set him up a cozy apartment and everything. So here's where things get weird. Everything that I have said so far seems ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Almost like a bad science fiction. Did we lose Frank?
No, I'm here. Hold on.
Oh, you're here.
Frank thought it was so ridiculous he could not show his face.
So ridiculous.
Taking my sleep aids. Sorry, guys.
Wow, taking the drugs.
Okay.
Wow.
So here's the thing, though. I am going to share my screen. We have photos of him.
Oh, there he is.
In fact,
Valiant Thor looks really upset in this photo. He looks like, why does he have his arms crossed?
Yeah, why are you not going back?
Color. Oh, okay, he's not the guy in back.
He's not the guy. No, he's this guy. He's this guy. Whoop. And this guy.
Okay.
So, this is where kind of things get a little, a little strange here. So,
Okay.
he goes and takes two of his Venusian buddies, whose names are Dawn and Jill.
Seems legit.
Seems legit. And he goes to a convention, a backyard convention in Highbridge, New Jersey. New Jersey.
New Jersey.
A place that you're too no, forget.
I'm too good for? Yes. Anyway. So at this UFO convention, there was a gentleman by the name of August Roberts, who was a U.S. Air Force photographer and retired at this point. He snapped these photos.
Oh, okay. So these are, okay, I got you.
So, this is a guy who Air Force doesn't think about anything spooky in his life, doesn't think about UFOs or aliens, takes this picture. And basically at this sort of convention, Valiant and his two friends are sort of wowing the crowd, showing off their alien skills with languages, with like mind reading, all that good shit. And so the convention ends, everything, and August Roberts calls up his good buddy by the name of Frank Stranges.
Ooh.
Yeah. Again, Frank Stranges, real person, basically says, yo, this is crazy. I got to show you these pictures. This is wild. So he comes over and he shows the pictures, and Frank is just looks like a dude. Just looks like a dude. And he's like, I know, but like, you don't know, you weren't there, sort of thing. So a little bit about Frank Stranges is that he is an author. He is a minister, super religious, but also super into UFOs. And we're talking like your classic, like ancient aliens, that the Bible and aliens are all the same, that like angels are just aliens.
That's
all that good stuff.
That's a rare person who's religious but also believes in the UFOs.
Oh, but he's like the whole, like that whole line of like the wheel within a wheel is just a UFO. But like
yeah, he's like an L. Ron Hubbard type of dude.
Kinda, yeah, like all about that religion, all about that religious alien life.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, moving my notes. Okay. And so a couple years go by, like 2 years go by. Frank writes a book, again, about angels and UFOs, all that good stuff. And he is on this book tour, and a woman shows up at one of them by the name of Nancy. She's very fancy looking, apparently.
Fancy Nancy.
Fancy Nancy.
I already made that joke.
All right, you can have it.
Okay. And she basically comes up to him and says, do you want to meet him? Because he's talked about him. He knows about him. He's like kept up with the whole thing. He's like, do you want to meet him? And he's like, fuck yeah. So the next day she picks him up, drives him to the Pentagon. They go in through like a back door, and
there he is.
Walks in, there he is. And basically, Valiant Thor tells him, guess what, dude? You are right. Jesus is an alien.
Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
What? And that everyone has moved away from the Lord, which is like an intergalactic being, and he needs to spread the message, and that his time on Earth is running out, and that he has to leave on March 16th, 1960. And everyone's plotting against Val. The CIA, the Department of Defense, they don't want him to succeed in his mission because they don't want him to become in charge. Like the Department of Defense and the CIA don't want people looking to Valiant Thor as a leader. They want to keep the power for themselves, which, I mean, I'd buy that. That does not surprise me. So what he's basically telling Frank Strange is that I need you to be a new disciple. I need you to help spread the word, the message, the gospel of denuclearization, intergalactic life, all of that. March 16 comes, and Val goes home. And Frank continues on the good work. He writes another book. He starts speaking at conferences. And at the time, in the late 60s, there was actually people who were interested in this whole thing, this whole idea of, I mean, aliens were a huge thing in the 60s because the space race and all of that. And the country was still very religious and all of that. So this idea of trying to meld those two theories is actually fairly popular. And he's speaking at a conference in Germany. And an Italian magazine calls him up and wants to do an interview. So they set up a lunch date. And he gets to the restaurant and he orders soup. And the other guys order some other food. And they start doing the interview. But then the questions begin to get increasingly more aggressive, more invasive, and Frank's starting to feel very uncomfortable with the conversation. Soon he gets a phone call. Like the server comes over and says, there's a phone call for you, sir. Escorts him out. When he comes back to the table, the two men are gone. Their food is gone. Everything on the table is gone except for Frank's soup. Frank's like, well, fuck, great. Glad those guys are gone. So he starts eating his soup. And he takes a bite and he feels something gritty in it. And then he starts to feel his throat burn and his stomach go. And he's got an interpreter who's sitting at another table. And the interpreter basically takes one look at him and like, we got to get you out of here, and gets him to this hotel room. By the time he's gotten to his hotel room, he is coughing up blood. And basically he's like, those fuckers poisoned me.
Sounds like
before he loses consciousness, he sees his interpreter pull out a vial, pour it into some water, and made him drink it. And he goes unconscious. When he wakes up a couple hours later, he's fine. And he asks his interpreter, like, yo, what the fuck was that? And he goes, I don't know what I gave you. A few days ago, I got a phone call. I was told to bring this vial and that you would need it. And as soon as he finishes saying this sentence, the phone in the hotel rings, and Frank picks up the phone, and it's his good buddy Val. And Val, he apparently said to him, Frank, didn't I tell you to be careful about who you met with?
Oh my God.
And so the implication is that Val had called the interpreter, warned him ahead of time, and had him prepared. So 7 months later, Frank's sitting at home, gets a phone call, and it's his good pal Val. And Val's like, yo, meet me up in San Diego. And so he's like, cool, sweet, hops on a plane. There's Val at baggage claim, waiting for him.
Did he get the bags for him? Because that would have been really
I don't
nice.
know. I assume so. In
Okay.
my mind, Val has a sign. Like,
Aw.
In my mind, Val's holding doors, pulling out chairs.
everyone, everyone says that he was just handsome and nice.
Also, Lord Cronus popped a scared emoji into the chat. Thanks, Lord Cronus. I'm also scared. But Val seems like a nice guy, though.
He's a nice guy. We like Val. Val's nice.
I like
I
that.
do like how his name is Valiant Thor. Instead of going with Thor, we went for Val as the nickname.
It's Val.
Okay, you know what?
Val
Val.
suits him a little bit more. Thor
Okay.
makes me think like Thor. He's Val. He's just like nice guy.
Nice.
He's so nice.
So nice.
All right.
He doesn't look friendly, though. I'll say that. In the pictures that I've seen, he doesn't.
But it's funny, all the descriptions of him say that he's always smiling. They also say that he's very tan. Like he's just tan. But no one says swarthy. So.
I'm going to mute my microphone because there's like sirens outside.
No.
Well, it's Thor. Get you.
All right, so Val picks him up at baggage claim. They hop into what everyone assumes must have been like Val's rental car. They drive down to the Mexico border. They stop in a little town, probably have some lunch, and then they hop on a boat and kind of go off into the ocean. And they're riding along until in the middle of the water, they come across basically Val's spaceship, which he has sort of landed and is sitting on the water. And he brings him on board. And basically, like he gets in, he gets disrobes, he gets the whole alien sterilization with the air and and apparently he gets his own little like lightweight jumpsuit, not nearly as like indestructible, but like a cute little jumpsuit. And they provide him like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh.
Of like intergalactic foods. And he's like, it was so good. Like Frank is like 10 out of 10, beats Golden Corral.
If that's Frank's standard, then I guess.
I actually almost went to Golden Corral this weekend. It was either Texas Roadhouse, and we all know how that played out. Go ahead. Sorry.
So they started. Val literally gives him like a guided tour, and apparently it's huge spaceship. There is a amphitheater. There's a library, some labs, all of that. A podcast I listened to. Apparently, if I like go and read like Frank's book, he even describes like the toilets were super weird, but also super cool. Like that's how like detailed this all got.
It's so awesome.
But now where we turn to history here, the day that he got onto the spaceship was June 5th, 1978, which most people would not recognize that date. But bringing it back around to assassinations, this was the day that Senator Bobby Kennedy was giving a speech at the Ambassador Hotel. So we all know that. Senator Bobby Kennedy, shot by Sirhan Sirhan. So everybody gathers around this like viewing screen, which apparently can see any moment that's happening on the planet at the time. Like it can go anywhere, you can see everything. So he is watching in real time as Bobby Kennedy is shot from this spaceship. Now, Bobby Kennedy and Val, also good friends. Like Val was like an advisor to Bobby Kennedy because of course. Yeah. And Bobby was like, should I run for president? And Val was like, you need to chill out for a minute. You need to like wait 4 years and you'll be good. Like, don't do anything now. And apparently Frank says that after he was shot, one of the other aliens stood up and said, well, he should have listened to you, Val.
So is that to imply that if he would have waited, he would not have gotten shot?
Yes, and he would have become president.
Well, now his son is running. Do you think we have any involvement from the aliens?
God, I hope not. I don't want to think that Val would be involved in that.
Just saying.
So this all happens and everything like that. And the strange thing is, when people talk about experiences or like how to tell someone's like credible, is like if they tell a story, do the details change?
Right.
And apparently the details in this experience and for most of Frank's stories never change. He is always consistent. He's always very like adamant about what he saw. So, 2 years later, Frank gets another phone call, and it's Val, and he's like, hey, I'm in Las Vegas. Come meet me in Las Vegas. And he gets to the airport, and this time Val's not at the airport, but these two other guys are. And he's like, all right, they're here for me. Val must have sent them.
Sure.
They drive him out into the desert and start beating the shit out of him.
Oh my God.
Suddenly, two Venusians that are not Val, maybe it's Don and Jill, come out of nowhere and basically pull these two goons off and kick their asses and saves his life. A couple years later, Frank's on his honeymoon, and he is driving down the road, and they're leaving the Hoover Dam, and a car, look, it's 1985. You went to the Hoover Dam, I guess. Like, that was your honeymoon.
I'm just saying he went to go meet another man in Las Vegas, but yeah, take your new wife to the Hoover Dam.
Hey, listen,
That's fine.
I'd rather go to the Hoover Dam than New Jersey. Am I right,
I
James?
think the Hoover Dam is actually fairly close to Las Vegas, but
Frank,
yes.
why are we fighting?
I wouldn't say we're fighting. I'm just trying to get you guys.
You wouldn't say we're fighting? I feel like
Joan's fighting now.
Listen, I'm going to say this. No state will ever be worse than Indiana.
No,
Period.
but Chicago's nice. We like Chicago.
I don't like Chicago.
Oh, that's Illinois. Oh,
yeah, that's the wrong state.
it's the wrong state.
I don't know which is worse, Chicago or Illinois. They're competing to be worse with each other. I like the suburbs. That's what I like. Just a middle ground.
I'm a big Parks and Rec fan, and I know Pawnee, Indiana doesn't actually exist, but like, it does in my heart. Anyway,
Indiana, I hate it.
Hey.
I hit my foot on my desk. Just want to let you know.
It's Indiana getting back at you.
yeah.
All right.
So Frank's on his honeymoon. He gets run off the road by a mysterious sedan. Terrible car accident. His wife is not super injured, but like nobody was unscathed in this. And Frank is rushed to the hospital, and he is paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh, wow.
Doctors aren't sure what's going on. He's in the hospital for, a couple hours at this point, when the door opens, in walks Val. And Val lays his hands on him and heals him.
Oh,
I knew that was
okay.
Hours later, Frank walks out of the hospital completely healed.
That's nuts. Let me ask you this. Do we know if there's any record of a diagnosis from the hospital?
I did not delve that deep.
I
did
You
not
look into this man's medical
medical
records.
history.
No, HIPAA did not exist back then. We need to find out.
I will bribe some hospital officials and get back to you.
If only we had somebody.
Do we have that in the budget? Is that in the budget for some bribes, like some under the table?
It's in the
Move
petty
some-
cash
Yeah,
Great.
move some stuff around.
stuff around. That's what my fiance and I say, Joan. So that's why it's extra hilarious there. Move stuff around.
Stuff around.
So Frank and Val go on to write a book together called Outwitting Tomorrow. And as far as we know, Val is still hanging out in Las Vegas. His spaceship is parked out in the desert and is invisible, but he still lives there. Very recently, he wrote a foreword to a book, again, about like aliens and Jesus and Christianity and like the overlapping and stuff like that. And that's like where we're at with Val. Now, again, like this all seems ridiculous. This seems so ridiculous. And in fact,
And I like it.
no. In fact, some people also call out the fact that there are a number of very large similarities to the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, which did come out a few years before this all happened. So
Okay.
people are obviously willing to be like, Frank's crazy, made it all up. Except for the fact that there are a few people who have come out on record confirming everything.
Like who? Like government officials or just nobodies?
Like the Royal Canadian Minister of Defense.
Oh, fuck me. All right.
Project Blue Book, which we all know actually did exist.
Yeah.
In their files, there is references to Valiant Thor.
Wow.
And then Eisenhower's own granddaughter is like, no, it's true.
This
Like,
James,
yeah.
you're making it so you're making it really hard for me not to want to fall down this rabbit hole after the show.
Do you want to know how deep the rabbit hole I went this afternoon?
Please.
Okay. So I learned today that there is a man out there whose name is James M. Mixon, who is a dentist, a professor of dentistry, and also a presidential dentistry historian. I could tell you all about the porcelain crown on which exact incisor Eisenhower is said to have chipped the day that he went to go meet the aliens. Wow. And apparently he had a lot of trouble with that one specific porcelain cap. And that basically the Eisenhower library and this James M. Mixon is just like, no, you kind of have to buy the chicken wing and the broken cap story because, like, here are the dental records. Here's this. The library is like, he busted his tooth, dude. That's how deep I got. There's a Washington Post article about the tooth.
So you did go into someone's medical records today. I just want to clarify.
I did not. James M. Mixon did.
I don't know. It's just, this is what I like. This when you get into like, is it real? Is it not? Here's some people that verify, but it's probably all not real. That's where I like to live.
But also, this is one of those things where I'm like, even if it's not real, even if it is, it's just a crazy story. It's not like a UFO crashed and people covered it up. It's like, no, an alien walked into the White House and was like, yo, turn off your nukes.
I would love to hear some theories. Because, if there's all this information, there's theories that like are probably 0.5 related. That's what I want to check out later.
Like where the overlap is of like.
Well, yeah, just like, since I'm sure that for every believer of Valiant Thor, there are people that'll say like, oh, he was also involved with XYZ.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to hear those XYZ things. Cause like there are theories that we've had alien technology that we've used that we're like,
yeah, Bob Lazar.
Yeah. Like Bob Lazar said, like, for example, like Velcro was alien technology. Like we reverse engineered Velcro. Like it came on the.
Did it take that? Was it that hard to reverse engineer? Or did someone just see Velcro one day? I was like, oh, that's cool.
No, that's what the story goes. Bob Lazar said, like, on one of the alien crafts, they had Velcro, and they're like, how does this shit work? And then they like reversed engineered it. And it's something so simple, but like that's just one thing. That's one thing out of many things that it's like, yes, that is something that may have been alien technology.
That's fun. I like that. I like a mundane object being alien, like Velcro. They're like, oh shit.
I like how there's other technology and they're like, no, shut up. What the fuck's that?
What
is that?
I don't know. I like to
but that feels so real though.
Many of the boring people in society will say that aliens were a big deal during that time because aliens were something that was like a subconscious metaphor for like communism, like McCarthy.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's hidden danger among us, the space race, technology.
Exactly. I like to think of aliens as being absolutely real, and especially now we're living in this time of pseudo disclosure, and so some of the conspiracy nutballs out there are saying that the next step is that we're going to have World War III breakout, but then we're going to pivot into an alien invasion that's going to be hyped on social media. This is not me like making shit up. This is
no.
I know.
I've seen. I forget where I read it, but they basically said that like they even say that like the government has retro engineered and I remember this because it was the back in like the 80s, I think it was, there's the Hudson Valley where I live had a string of prominent UFO, all of that. And basically they said that the government has recreated that specific one and that it won't be actual aliens that come and do it. It will be the government will basically fake an alien invasion.
So that is a theory. And so from what I've read, it's like there's a lot of conflict in the world right now. You got the Ukraine shit. Then you've got tension between China and Thailand, then or Taiwan, not Thailand, Taiwan. You've got North and South Korea, which never actually ended, and then you also got the stuff that's going on now in the Middle East, right? And so people are saying that we're kind of on the brink of a big war, which seems that way. But the theorists that are like the conspiracy theorists are saying that the government will be faking an alien invasion. And just like what you had said, many people that don't even discuss Valiant Thor, people from the military have come out as whistleblowers and have said that like people that have guarded nuke silos during the Cold War were like at the ready, had their silos shut off somehow and have said, hey, we detected electromagnetism in the air that killed all the electronics, so we could not fire a nuke if we wanted to. So even though that's not...
There's a lot of... That happens like frequently.
Yes. So like, it's weird, but kind of cool, but also scary to think that these things are all related and to find out like which parts are true, which parts are not, because it's like, I don't know, even though we're in this weird time of pseudo disclosure, also things are not getting disclosed at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like we're kind of half admitting. So it's like,
I saw an interesting, so the whole idea of like space and time travel and how long things actually take and time dilation and all of that crazy shit, like that trips my balls out. The idea that like an hour on one planet is like 12 years over here, that all that interstellar shit. But that one of the theories about like the tic tacs that we're seeing is that what they are autonomous drones from an alien civilization. However, that the alien civilization has probably already collapsed, that the span of time in which the device would have needed to get here is so long that a civilization could have lived and died, but that if we are to find traces of intelligent life out in the universe, it'll most likely be in the form of technology that is perpetual.
Yeah, it's
versus organic, which I actually, as disappointing as it be, it'd be great like an alien come and stroll in, but like that to me makes a little bit more likely sense that we're going to see something, an artifact of some sort.
You're very right on par with a lot of theories. That a lot of people say that the bodies of aliens or aliens that we've seen have been techno-organic technology, and that's why their bodies don't really make sense, because on a cellular level there's machines that put them together. Like they may not even be the beings that we think that they are, where it's like person,
but they're there to manipulate or do, they're like roboties or...
Yeah, and when we were discussing time travel prior to both of you being on the show, it's something that it was my thesis before it was really big in pop culture. And I will just say that time travel is possible and it is happening. And I'll tell you this right now, because the time is relative to Earth. So right now in the International Space Station, there are computers. This is factual. Time runs just a little bit faster up there, fractions of a second faster. So these computers account for that. And, you know, if an astronaut is in the International Space Station for long enough, they're going to be just slightly older than everybody else here on the planet. So it's weird how that is not only possible, but it's happening. And if we were to, as human beings, if we're able to make a craft that can get far enough, fast enough from the Earth and then stay out there for whatever length of time, they could come back in what seems to them a short amount of time. But on Earth, it could be hundreds of years, thousands of years. That's scary. It's sort of going back in time where it's like just theoretical. But there's a lot of things within space-time that were theoretical that are now very factual. For example, Stephen Hawking was the first person that said like black holes are fucking real. Nobody believed him. We all, like some people in the scientific community were laughing at him and like, oh, that's really funny Star Trek shit, but like it's not real. But they are, and they did discover them, and now there's pictures now. You know what I mean? We never thought we'd get this far. So obviously the next big thing is wormhole, which is something that is sort of a passage between space and time. Love talking about it. I don't want to bore everybody, but it's very theoretically possible. It could be that we just haven't found this stuff yet. And it's just amazing to think about, but also very scary. You know, I know a lot of people within the scientific community who do believe in aliens, believe that aliens, they believe that they are around. We're just too stupid to perceive them. We don't have the heightened sense to sort of see them or notice that they're there.
Is that why my keys move from place to place sometimes?
I don't know. I'm just saying that like bacteria is not aware of us. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It could be something like that where we don't have the means to take note of other life that could be out there, even though it could be all around us, right? So
I always like that was in Men in Black, the galaxy in the cat's
and
collar.
Orion, the cat.
Right, yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies. And really, my favorite part of that movie is what Tommy Lee Jones says about people and aliens and believing in disclosure, which is that you can trust a person with the information that aliens are real because a person is rational, a person is able to keep a secret, all these things. But if you were to tell
A population,
people are crazy, stupid, irrational, angry, sad, fearful, and as a group, people are not to be trusted, or something along those lines. I'm not going to look for the quote, but that's so true. And it's not just aliens, it's everything. It's like people in big groups are so crazy, but people individually can be so great. It's strange like that, right? That's like social media. Whenever there's like a big social media movement that goes viral or something that's an idea that sort of gets popular, there's also a lot of stupidity that comes with that. Individually, if we're allowed to talk about things and share ideas, I feel like that's a lot more conducive to positivity and it's a lot more conducive to rationality. So
do you know what my fun Men in Black connection is? I worked for a number of summers at the Queen's Theater in the Park, it's called, which is right next door to the observation discs.
Cool.
And you can't go up to them anymore because you will die because they will fall apart. But like I got to go into some like restricted areas like around them and stuff like that. It was really fun.
It sounds really, really fun. I mean, I love that movie. That movie.
It's a great movie.
It did a lot, and it's got some really good storytelling. And I like number 2 and number 3. I really kind of wish they would make more, to be honest with you. They made actually, you know what? They did make one that
did with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I feel like I started watching that one, but got bored. If I'm not mistaken, I
missed that one.
I think I started.
Definitely fell asleep during that one.
I think I started watching that one during quarantine time.
Yeah.
Solo, like to pass the time during quarantine, and I think I was like, this is so damn boring.
The quarantine days.
Oh man, what did you guys do during quarantine? Anything fun?
I embroidered. I took up embroidery.
Is that something you learned during quarantine?
I mean, it's not that hard to learn. You just make an X, lots of little X's.
Joan, what did you learn during quarantine? Did you pick up something new?
No, I was already doing my other podcast, so I was doing the podcast.
I actually picked up shoe shining. I bought a shine box and I bought like hundreds of dollars of expensive sapphire polish, and I just started collecting dress shoes actually, and I'd get like brand new dress shoes delivered to my door, and then I would just literally polish them. And I still have a remote job, but like I had my remote job at the same company where I'm at. Just sit, and do my work and just be like polishing my damn shoe while I'm, and I still haven't even worn all of them yet, which is funny. Like I collected so many over time.
I hosted some trivia nights, some online trivia nights.
Yeah. We've had some recent trivia nights. I wish you could be part of them, James. It'd be a lot of fun, but it's that
I love a good trivia.
I found out that I'm pretty okay at trivia. Joan will tell you.
I've been told that I need to, because I create my own trivias occasionally. I tend to be too difficult. My dad says the key to like a good trivia night is when you hear the answer, you go, oh yeah. Like the answer can't be so obscure where you're like, never was going to get that, but it has to be just enough that if you didn't get it, you feel like, oh damn.
Yeah.
There's an art to it.
Joan is actually really good at creating trivia. We've witnessed too. We had.
It's because I include sources in case anyone argues with me about something.
To be fair, though, Joan, I did challenge one of your answers,
and I corrected myself and said, "No, you were correct," because my husband looked up the question and had the answer and the source, and I said, "No, you're right."
Threw her husband under the bus for the sake of that question for trivia night. We did.
We should do a late night legends trivia question and see if people send in their answers.
I would love to do that. We could use like information that we learned like past shows about us. That would be really fun. I've actually wanted to do giveaways with that, with like trivia.
one of the things we did do over quarantine that was a lot of fun is we found this RPG called Scream. And you play a character in a horror movie that you come up with, and it's like simple things, and the more risk you take, like more higher score you get. But when you die, you become part of the horror, which is also really fun to play if you want an easy like tabletop RPG. So
Sounds really fun.
it is.
Should play something like that. I would love to play horror games on this channel or for this podcast. It's just I don't know that our audience signed up for that. So like maybe you guys can help me decide later on what we should do. But I would totally
Frank, is it me? Did I freeze?
No, you
No.
look good.
Now you're frozen.
Oh, no, now you're back.
You guys froze.
You froze momentarily.
I'm looking back at like my old trivia decks.
There was we should do a paranormal trivia night. I would love that. Just I don't think I'd want to be a contestant, but I would definitely be there to ask the questions.
I have a whole category that is rom-coms, but I just give you they're all Sandra Bullock movies, and I just give you the poster with the title blacked out.
Sandra Bullock.
I'm so bad at trivia. I'm like really bad at it.
James, we decided to do trivia on the Super Bowls, and the first episode was myself versus Joan. I didn't look up how to play the game or what the rules were. What the rules were, we each pick a category and then a mutual category. So at least we have knowledge of one of the categories.
Yeah.
And then we go in on the third. I didn't even like I was so busy at the time with so many things that like I didn't even look at the rules or how we were playing. So Joan's category was like Real Housewives or whatever. What was
No, I said they asked like, "What do you want a category to be?" And I was like, I have a stupid amount of knowledge about this thing, and like if we're talking about school subjects, it's this thing. Like that's the answer.
Here are your options.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went in on that. I failed every single question of the category, and when Joan and I were done, we both lost. We both had negative points, but I had less negative points. So
There you go. Oh my god.
It was something else. We should do it paranormally. It'd be cool to like somehow get a few people that are like really good at paranormal trivia and then have them as contestants, as hosts, like guests, and then we could have them compete for a good prize. We can brainstorm on a real paranormal prize. I actually went to was supposed to meet up with Doug at Gurney Mills Mall, which is a huge mall here in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and like or no, it's in Illinois. I'm sorry, it's in Illinois, but huge mall. And I went to this bookstore instead with my fiance, and there were so many cool things that are paranormal related that I was like, man, maybe we should buy that to give it away, but I want to talk with the team. They had like tarot cards and like crystal balls and like books and occult books and like.
I would not suggest buying a crystal ball.
Why?
Just in general.
Because like if the light hits it, and then you can set your house on fire.
Yeah.
I rent, so I'm good with that.
I would prefer if nothing got set on fire, though.
I wouldn't put it in the window. It would stay in the box until the giveaway time.
I know, but I don't want to give it to somebody else and then set their house on fire.
I think I saw it was like a Reddit thing or something. It's like, ooh, I went and bought a crystal ball, and the person was like, remember, never leave your crystal ball uncovered. It's like, why? Because the spirits will see. She's like, no, because the light's going to go through and it's going to refract and it's going to burn a hole through your wall.
Set your house on fire.
It's going to set your house on fire, too.
We could brainstorm about like what to give out. I would love to give out like a nice wind chime or something,
That's fun.
No, seriously, like one of our once upon a time when we were discussing our brand, we decided that we were going to be like the main theme of Late Night Legends was a summer storm, which is why you always hear like thunder and lightning, and we have fireflies because that's kind of our brand. So wind chimes really kind of fit that, little niche
vibes.
Yeah, it fits the vibe. So I would love to give away. I would buy a nice wind chime to give away. What do you guys think? We got to figure out how to give it away. We have a few things that I try to give away that nobody wants. I bought David Schrader's book to give away. Not a single person even wanted it at that time. I was so upset that nobody wanted to enter the giveaway. I just opened a channel in Discord. I'm like, anybody, if you write a message in this channel, you'll win this book. Nobody. And then, I don't know. We're still waiting on someone to submit a near-death experience or communication with the afterlife for Hill Schrader's book. So there's that. I want to do giveaways. I think once we make them a regular thing, we could get some people that want to participate. I think it's because we're also so irregular and people don't know what cadence it would be, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's brainstorm next meeting, guys.
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm. I'll edit.
And Joan, I did look up the President Garfield's old house is haunted by him. So
Oh, thank God. And it's in
Ohio.
It's in the
place he died is New Jersey. He did die in New Jersey.
I thought he was born in New Jersey too.
No, Ohio.
People go to die there and not be born there.
He's Ohio boy. He's
okay. Don't act like Ohio is better than New Jersey.
It's not.
So
it's
yeah,
definitely
don't
not.
even start with like, oh yeah, people. No, he ran away from Ohio. He's lucky.
No, do you know what? No, he didn't run. No, that's the whole thing. He didn't want to be president. He didn't even campaign for himself. He got the nomination and went home to Ohio and worked on his farm, and the reporters had to come to him.
Do you know how many stories there are of just famous people like out in a field somewhere being found and they're like, damn it. Like Einstein was out in like Long Island in like a field and they're like without a shirt on and the scientists were like, hey, we kind of need you for like this paperclip thing. Minutes. And he's like, okay.
Wait a second.
He was getting his tan on.
It wasn't paperclip to recruit Nazi scientists. He wasn't a Nazi scientist. He was like
it was
Jewish scientist
here for German scientist.
Oh, I thought he was German. You're right. He was. Yeah. Was he like a
Austrian?
Well, no. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not paperclip. It was for the atom bomb, though. I just
Manhattan Project.
Manhattan. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
Also, my accent came out with Long Island, and I'm not very.
Long Island.
You have an accent? What accent do you have?
Jersey.
Jersey.
Okay, say car keys.
Car keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not those words. They're very specific words.
It's weird. It's weird because I, for the most part, don't hear accents on anybody. The only person I kind of heard is when we had Paige on. She's from Texas, and a little bit of that Texas accent came out.
Mm.
No, it's specifically dog and coffee.
Dog?
That's like, so my dad grew up in Yonkers, and Yonkers, like alone Yonkers has its own thing. And my grandfather was always very particular about how words were pronounced and everything like that. And so none of my family has like a Yonkers accent, but every so often, every once in a while, my dad would be like, oh, I'm going to go run and get some coffee. And it's like literally physically painful for him when he says it like that. He'll like stop what he's doing.
Coffee is like one of those words that I can't say correctly. Like if I think of the word blog, I can say dog, right? Mm-hmm. But
okay. Let's try this for a second.
Okay.
Let's say the word lawyer.
Lawyer.
James?
Lawyer.
Okay. Because that's one that people, depending on your accent, will say different. Okay. Do you guys say caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel.
When you guys see a crawfish, do you call it a crawfish, crawdad, or crayfish?
Wrong area.
No, we have crayfish.
We
don't say like it's a crawdad. Like we're not in the backwoods of Louisiana.
One of those words. So
I think I would repeat whatever. So if someone pointed to me and said this is a this, I would say whatever.
We're also in a weird pocket of the East Coast where we have a lot of words that mean like if you said to me a sub, a hoagie, or a sandwich, I would know I would know what all those words mean. I personally used like sub.
Yeah, sub.
Joan's husband says crayons. All right.
Crayons.
I've got a couple. So what do you
He's
call...
making fun of me. Sorry, go on.
Go on, Justin.
What do you call like the big cast iron things in your home that heat the room? One of these things.
Okay.
A radiator?
Radiator, yeah.
Radiator.
No, wow. Radiator.
That's a New York thing, radiator. I also say these are the things that my wife makes fun of me for. I say vanilla.
Vanilla?
And flamengo.
Flamingo. Yeah.
Flamengo instead of flamengo. Flamengo.
What was the
Flamengo.
My grandmother was from Georgia, so I know I say like drawers. Weird, drawers. Like the things you open, drawers.
Do you guys? Let me ask you this: as New Englanders, do you guys like use the word wicked?
Not New England.
We're not New Englanders. You can
Are-
ask us, but we're not.
Go for it.
Is New Jersey New England? I thought New
No,
Jersey.
we are part of the
No.
Empire States.
Uh,
No one ever cares about that.
No,
I
we
don't know
weren't.
if
We
Empire
weren't New
State-
England. We are the 13 original colonies, but we were
Oh,
not New England.
New England is like is Connecticut up.
Yeah, and Connecticut sometimes gets debated.
Okay,
But go ahead.
here's something that let me ask you guys about because here's a Midwest centric word.
Okay.
If you're telling a story and you say the word kid, but you're actually describing a grown person, be like, this kid showed up with $2 in his pocket. You guys,
Yeah.
would that work as an adult or is that just child?
Just child.
Unless I'm saying it ironically.
No, it can mean child or adult here. Also,
No, because it sounds like you're using it pejoratively, so
Yeah.
we'd be more likely to say like this asshole.
This asshole.
Yeah, it's like
I-
this
if-
asshole showed up with $2.
Like if I was trying to be patronizing, I would call someone a kid.
oh, okay, no, we wouldn't do it like that. It doesn't have like it doesn't have negativity attached.
No, we'd probably
No.
say guy. This guy.
Guy.
Okay.
Like if I'm like talking about someone and I'm angry at them, like this kid came in here.
We got your husband saying this friggin' guy.
This
Yep.
frigger
This
guy.
freaking guy. This
Okay.
this jackass.
Let's go down this a little bit because I'll tell you some Chicago words and you tell me if there's something that you've heard of.
Before you do that, there's one I do have to say. So I did go to college in Vermont, which is in New England.
Mhm.
And there's this like cool map that they have out. It's like a graphical map that they'll show where different words get said.
I love
And
that.
one of them is creamy,
I've
but
never
it's only said in Vermont, and it's soft served ice cream. It's a type of soft served ice
Oh,
cream.
okay.
But I said, being from New Jersey, I will never say creamy because
You
I don't
guys-
want to accidentally ask a man for a creamy in a cone. Because I'm not going to get ice cream in New Jersey.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
do you guys call UPS like Packies? Because I knew that was a thing at some point too.
Packies is a place you would get alcohol, like a package
Yeah,
store.
in Virginia is
Or
where
Mass-
or the ABC.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this: in your house right now, do you guys have a front room?
No, we don't have a foyer either.
But do you know what a front room is?
No, never heard that one.
The word. It's the so like in Chicago, a lot of our houses here are the bungalow style, which is to say that they're buildings that are very small when you're looking at them head on, but they're long. So most of them
Yeah.
are like it's like a long house. And,
Yeah.
they're in rows. That's like a bungalow style house. That first room that's in front of the house that acts as like a living room, family room, media room, that's a front room. And that's a room that's a word that we only have here. Looking
Okay.
at this, we also have words like dibs that everybody I thought
Dibs?
I use dibs.
Like you
Use
call
dibs.
dibs on
Yeah,
something?
you call dibs. But in Chicago, when you say it, it's mostly referring to the parking spaces. Here, dibs is the system that we have for parking, where if you have a house in the city and you don't want anyone parking in front of your house, you could put fucking lawn chairs and like other shit.
That's a
called
Pittsburgh
illegal,
thing
and
too.
I'll kick your chair out of the way.
The
You'll get shot
oh,
over here.
you'll get shot. Yeah, Pittsburgh's the same way.
I
You
know.
get the Pittsburgh chair.
Yeah.
And it's a chair you put in.
I mean, that's like, yeah, when I worked into like a smaller city, people would try doing that, or people put their trash cans out specifically. It wasn't chairs, it was trash cans,
Yeah.
especially during snow days.
According to this article, also Chicago words are instead of the word that these, them, and those, we say these, them, and those, but that is not true.
Uh,
Do you guys have gangways? Do you know what a gangway is? I know what that word is.
I think this is like an over the road walkway.
No. A gangway is the
Isn't it like a small catwalk, right?
no, not
That's what I would. Yeah, that's
so. It's a good guess. A gangway is again referring to the either bungalow style homes or buildings that are really close together. A gangway,
it's just like the really long hallway.
no, it's the strip of sidewalk that goes in between the buildings. Because sometimes buildings
Oh.
have a few feet apart.
Yeah.
You know, to
Oh, that's an alleyway.
Alleyway, yeah.
that's behind. That's what we just call the road.
Well,
that's-
because you have the road that's behind, but New York doesn't have
Yeah.
have that. New York just
They're-
has little cut throughs.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this cut through those, it's perfect. It's cool that we're talking about this. I love this kind of stuff, but those cut throughs here are called gangways, and the alley is different because the alley runs parallel to behind
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
So the big one in New Jersey that people get stumped on is oh my god, a jug handle.
Oh, we have those.
Yes, you have them, but not everyone calls them a jug handle.
I don't know what that is.
I always called it. So jug handles are so if you're driving and you want to make a left-hand turn, sometimes there's too many lanes of traffic. So what you'll do is you actually take like a right-hand exit that loops around to a stoplight to allow you to make that left turn. So
That's
imagine
where
if
the
like the
joke-
road has a handle on it, so you can
Yeah.
go that way.
Oh, okay.
So we don't do a lot of circles. We do jug handles instead.
We don't
Yeah.
have it.
That's where also the joke from New Jersey is you can't make a left turn.
I mean, you can.
I-
It's very difficult.
That's really weird. Here's one that's traffic related for Chicago. Do you guys have Gaper's Block by you for traffic?
No.
So a gaper is somebody who's driving by, usually an accident or like a police situation.
Oh, it's like a rubbernecker.
Rubbernecking, yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have rubbernecking out here. You say that to me? Never heard that phrase before.
Oh, they'll say it like on the news around here, like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
rubber-
rubbernecking, so expect a delay.
We call them Gaper's delay.
Oh,
Makes a little more sense actually than a rubberneck. Rubberneck is like,
because you're like, stretching your neck.
yeah.
To look
I
at
will.
it.
So I went to college in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh has a lot of fun things. So, Chicago might have yous guys. The South might have y'all. Pittsburgh has yins.
What the fuck?
Yins. They also have the tendency to drop the words to be. So it's not like this needs to be done. It's this needs done. This needs washed. This needs and then rubber bands are called gum bands.
Oh.
But my favorite is saying like if you want to get the Pittsburgh accent going, it's oh, you guys going downtown to see the Steelers and that. Which is, are you guys going downtown to watch the
see
Steelers play?
Oh.
But they also add an at to the end of things. So like this and that. So it's like, oh, you guys are gonna go do this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many words. I feel like we could make a whole episode of this, but
People have.
Yeah.
Language is so big. It's so
I
fun.
love language.
I love it too. I'm marrying a speech pathologist, so
Ooh, she and I can talk about the International Phonetic Alphabet.
Yeah.
IPA, our good friend the Schwa.
I think she'd love that conversation. Maybe you can talk to her at the wedding and talk about language while we're
I'll
trying.
wear my underneath my suit. I'll wear my like IPA shirt.
Oh my god, there's so many things I had no idea were not talked about. Like one of the bigger things that I'm thinking of is you cannot verify it, but I used to know this guy from New Orleans, which people down there call it Nolans, which whatever.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to college with this guy, he used to call it his book sack, and we call it book bag here or backpack. But
Backpack.
Yeah.
never
Saddlebag, book bag.
never call it saddlebag, and we never call it a sack. But
Well, saddlebag technically is a cross.
Yeah.
When you have it.
we,
yeah.
we're purely calling those messenger bags out here.
Same.
Oh, I've heard it called a messenger bag too. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we're such in a weird pocket, like James and I, that like,
We get a little bit of everything.
yeah, it's like, so there's a lot of words that like just we don't use, but I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I don't know. One of my biggest pet peeves, I'll tell you before we end on tonight's show, is that a lot of time when people are referring to like Chicago dialect for things, they really confuse it with like a heavy New England. So like people
Like Boston.
yeah, so people think that we
Boston.
sound like Boston or like we sound like Peter Griffin or something like Rhode Island, but we don't. And it's I blame. There's a Saturday Night Live skit with like Chris Farley and stuff where they're doing the Bears or whatever.
Mhm.
I blame that particular skit for what everybody thinks
Oh,
should
absolutely.
sound like. But like, I don't know. In fact, what I really like is if I'm talking to somebody who's not from my area, I am always curious to see if they think I have an accent, because I don't think that I do, obviously. No?
No. And I spent 3 years studying accents and dialects in college. You're good.
So great. I love it.
I have a binder. I have a binder
On
of
Frank?
dialects.
You have a that's okay, James. When you have a binder of me, it's not called a binder, it's called a dream journal. Okay.
Aw, that's so
Oh,
sweet.
put that on a t-shirt.
Fill the pages. All right, guys.
On that note, I need to go to bed.
Let's close it up. You guys want to give
Yeah.
a thought on Valiant Thor? I'll probably cut out all the language stuff.
Bad.
No, keep it in. No, I'm kidding. Just
I can-
whatever.
Whatever. What do you guys want
No.
Edit it down.
to? Okay.
People like a good.
We did half an hour of just language stuff. Just saying.
Hey, love it. That's our spin-off blog.
Joan, you have any closing thoughts? I think you should go first.
I would not be surprised if Valiant Thor was a scam artist. I'm just saying, but it's fine.
James?
I would love AI to like take the photos that we have, make a front on composite, and see if we can find out who he was.
Oh yeah, they can do that now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So my final thought is thanks, James, for doing this topic finally. I've been excited for it, and it's weird because we never decided to not do it. We've just been putting it off because we've had a lot of
Was sick one time, like
sick stuff, changes in staff, we took a break out of September, like we've had a lot going on. So I'm really happy to finally knock this one out. And I feel bad to anybody listening that went to our website expecting this show, because over time in the last few months, we've just been kind of like putting on the calendar and then we've been pushing it. But thanks for doing that research. I always love your topics because you have cool visuals and I'm a visual learner. So that's wonderful. I'd like to send
love a slideshow
out to both Hein, who checked in and wished us a nice stream, as well as Joan's husband. I really appreciate him coming in and letting us know about crayons and this friggin' guy. But outside of that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. We will see you next week where we have a special guest. Do any of you guys remember him?
Jacob May something.
Mayfield. Jacob Mayfield. He's a really cool dude. I've actually run into him twice, but only talked to him once in person. Didn't know who he was. He actually, when we did our show in Elgin, the live podcast for Dark Matters, he was in the audience being like the coolest audience member. So I also think there's a little bit of redemption for him a little bit, because I love the Maybe It's Spiritual crew. They got a really great podcast. Definitely check them out. He was on that show and they had a problem or mix up with the audio, and he never got his exposure from that. So
oh no,
we're gonna redeem it on behalf of Maybe It's Spiritual. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We'll see y'all next week when he's on. If you're listening to this, whether it's right now live or in post, if you want to join us in the chat and ask him questions, feel free to do so. Yes, Joe.
No, I was typing.
Oh, okay.
I was giving visuals.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Take care of yourselves.